Hey everyone, and welcome back to Talk Tickers. We are diving into Northwest Natural's Q3 2024 earnings call.
Yeah, hot off the press this morning, November 12th.
We're going to break it all down for you.
That's right.
Get you up to speed on what's moving this stock.
Absolutely.
So we've got the transcripts from the call.
We do,
We've
yeah.
got some market data ready to synthesize it all.
Awesome.
You know, earnings calls, they could be a little dry,
Yeah,
but we're going to try to pull out the good stuff.
that's right.
Make it interesting and figure out, what it all means for investors with the help of our expert here.
Absolutely.
So right off the bat,
Yeah.
the CEO, David Anderson, he gave an opening statement.
Yeah, he did.
And he highlighted some pretty impressive wins for Q3, I'd say.
Yeah, strong performance, some big wins with the rate cases, and some progress on those key growth initiatives.
So let's unpack some of those a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think, when people hear rate cases,
Right.
they don't always know what that means.
They might not.
So explain it.
Sure. So basically, this is how utilities get permission from regulators to increase the rates they charge customers.
This is a pretty big deal.
Yes, especially in this market where everyone's worried about inflation.
Exactly.
NWN scored big with both their Oregon gas utility case and the Arizona water utilities case. So this is going to mean a substantial increase in revenue for them.
Wow. How much are we talking?
We're talking $93.3 million from that Oregon case alone.
All right, so where's all that money coming from?
Well, a big chunk of it, $83.7 million, is to cover investments and expenses related to maintaining and upgrading their systems. Keeping those pipes flowing and the water clean.
Right. Got to spend money to make money.
That's right.
What about the rest?
The remaining $9.6 million is for increased depreciation.
Okay.
And that's basically accounting for wear and tear on their existing assets over time.
So how does this all break down for, the average Joe?
Sure.
Who's got their gas bill or their water bill? What are they looking at?
Yeah, so the impact on customer bills is actually less than you might think.
Okay.
So in Oregon, the average residential bill is going up by 4.7%.
Okay.
And get this, despite rising costs everywhere else, customers are actually paying less for natural gas today than they were 20 years ago.
That's pretty wild.
It is.
I guess shows you the power of regulation and long-term planning.
Absolutely. And it's worth noting that NWN also saw an uptick in both their gas and water customer base.
Okay.
Always a good sign.
Yeah, for sure.
It means people are literally buying into their services.
So let's talk about,
Yeah.
I feel like the elephant in the room on this call,
Okay.
the $13.7 million disallowance.
Yeah, definitely raised some eyebrows.
What is that?
So basically, this disallowance comes from something called line extension allowances.
Okay.
And these are the costs associated with extending gas lines to new customers.
Oh, so they weren't allowed to recoup all those costs.
That's right.
Okay.
So the commission decided that $13.7 million of those costs couldn't be passed on to customers. Yeah, basically saying you can't include this in your rate base.
Right.
This translates to $10.1 million after-tax non-cash disallowance, which will impact their fourth quarter results.
So I imagine that's got some investors a little bit worried.
Potentially.
What could it signal going forward?
Well, it could be a change in how the commission is viewing these types of costs.
Interesting.
It's a good reminder that even if a utility believes its costs are justified, regulators don't always agree.
So a little bit of a regulatory risk there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, at least NWN isn't just,
Right.
sitting around waiting for the commission.
That's right. They're branching out.
They're branching out.
Right.
Beyond gas, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing it in water. We're seeing it in renewable.
And making moves.
So let's start with the water side.
Yeah.
They just completed some acquisitions with Putman Infrastructure and ICH.
Yes. Taking them into some interesting new markets, Idaho, Oregon, California.
Yeah, very interesting. And what do those acquisitions bring to the table?
Well, these acquisitions aren't just about grabbing market share.
Okay.
They're also about tapping into the recycled water business, which is a huge growth area.
Especially with the drought and everything out west.
Huge, exactly. Plus, these acquisitions bring in key personnel with tons of experience.
Like Tom Putman?
Like Tom Putman, who's now heading up Northwest Natural Water.
Exactly.
He brings a wealth of experience to the table.
So making moves in water.
Yes.
What about on the renewables front?
Yeah, so we know they have those 2 landfill R&D facilities in partnership with EDL.
Right.
And those facilities are officially online,
Sure.
generating revenue. This is a big step for them in diversifying their energy portfolio.
Now, for anyone who's forgotten,
Sure.
what is RNG again?
So RNG stands for renewable natural gas.
Okay.
Think of it like methane captured from landfills, but it can be used just like traditional natural gas.
They're turning trash to treasure.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And the best part is these facilities have long-term contracts with some very reliable partners.
Okay, so nice steady revenue coming in from that.
Precisely. And another interesting detail here, their RNG strategy isn't reliant on RIN or LCFS credits.
And remind me what those are again?
Sure. So RIN and LCFS credits, those are basically government incentives for producing renewable fuels.
Okay.
They can be quite volatile, making it hard to predict revenue. NWN's decision to avoid relying on them shows that they are prioritizing stability and long-term viability.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so CFO Rakesuva gave us the financial picture.
Yeah.
And I've got to say it was a little bit of a mixed bag.
Well, he did stress that 2024 is an investment year for NWN, so this means that they're pouring money into growth initiatives, even though it's impacting earnings in the short term.
Okay, so spend money to make money.
Exactly. They're playing the long game.
Right.
And it seems like they're confident that those investments will pay off down the road.
Well, and they did reaffirm their long-term earnings per share growth target of 4% to 6%.
Yes.
Which I think is a good sign.
It's a good sign. They also highlighted that they've successfully secured all their financing needs for 2024 and project-only modest needs for 2025.
So they're in a good spot.
Exactly.
Financially speaking.
Yep.
Then we get to the analyst Q&A.
Ooh, yeah.
Which is always where things get really interesting.
It's always spicy.
Right. The analysts, they start grilling the executives.
Exactly.
And one of the hot topics this time was future capital expenditures.
NIPEX, yeah.
They wanted to know, like, how much are you going to spend?
Basically, yeah. Are we going to see another big spending spree?
And what did they say?
Well, actually, they hinted that CapEx might be similar to 2024 or even a tad lower.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
They've already shelled out a lot of cash this year.
Exactly. They got to pace themselves.
And the other big question I saw pop up a lot was around the water acquisitions.
Oh, yeah. Tons of questions about that.
Everyone wants to know, are they going to keep buying up water utilities?
Right. Is this just the tip of the iceberg?
What did they say?
They indicated that they're planning to maintain a steady pace of smaller acquisitions in the water space. Nothing too dramatic.
Steady as she goes.
Exactly. So I think that about covers the key takeaways from this earnings call.
I think so.
But before we wrap up, I think it's time for our favorite segment.
You know it. This is not financial advice.
All right, let's hear it. What crazy speculative idea did you cook up?
Okay, so we know NWN's betting big on water, right? Clean water is the future.
Yeah.
What if, and I'm just spitballing here,
Okay.
what if we short bottled water companies and go long on NWN?
Whoa. Trading bottled water for utility stocks, huh?
Just imagine the profits when everyone ditches plastic for clean, sustainable water delivered straight to their taps.
I wouldn't rule it out. But remember, everyone, this is purely for entertainment purposes only. Don't base your life savings on a crazy idea you heard on podcasts.
Absolutely. We are not financial advisors. This is pure speculation, but hopefully it gets those brain juices flowing.
It definitely raises an interesting point about the bigger picture here. Well, NWN seems to be positioning themselves for a future where natural gas and renewables work together. It's a bit of a tightrope walk.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, is this a viable strategy? And what might it mean for other utilities?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And one we'll have to keep our eye on.
Absolutely.
But for now, I think we've given our listeners a good overview of this earnings call.
I think so too.
If you're feeling extra curious, you can always dig into the full transcript on NWN's website.
It's all there. All the juicy details.
All right, everyone. That's all the time we have for today.
Okay.
Be sure to join us next time for more earnings call breakdowns.
Absolutely.
And of course, some more wild speculative trade ideas.
That's right. We'll see you then. You know, what's fascinating to me is that NWN, a company so rooted in natural gas, is going all in on renewables.
Yeah, they are. It's not just talk. They've got those 2 landfill RNG facilities up and running, generating revenue. That says something.
Yeah, exactly. And they locked in those long-term contracts for those facilities, so that's a stable income stream coming in.
It's like they're preparing for a future where natural gas may not be the only game in town.
Mm-hmm.
Building that bridge, to a more sustainable energy future.
And they're doing it without relying on those government incentives, the RIN and LCFS credits. That's a sign of long-term thinking, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a smart move when you think about it. Decarbonization, sustainability, that's where things are headed.
Absolutely.
They're not just clinging to the past.
Yeah, they're aligning themselves with the future. And speaking of the future...
Let's talk about water.
Water. Yeah, they're making a big splash.
They are. those acquisitions.
Definitely strategic.
Not just buying any water utility.
Right.
They're thinking about recycled water, specific markets, drought conditions.
Exactly. They're thinking about the challenges and they're bringing in the talent. Tom Putman, now leading Northwest Natural Water.
Yeah.
He's got a wealth of experience.
So they're building something here.
They are.
A water powerhouse.
It's all part of the plan. Diversifying that portfolio, making a resilient business, anticipating those challenges, positioning themselves to thrive in this century.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, all this future-proofing is exciting, but we got to talk about the financials.
Right. Bottom line, CFO Rakesuva laid it out there for us.
Yeah, he said it straight up. 2024 is an investment year.
Right.
They're spending money on those growth initiatives, even if it means a little short-term hit to earnings.
So short-term pain, long-term gain.
That's right.
But you got to have confidence in that long-term gain, right?
Well, they do seem confident. And they reaffirmed their long-term earnings per share growth target, 4% to 6%.
Which is a good sign.
That's a solid number. And they've got all their financing secured for 2024, only modest needs projected for 2025.
So that should give investors some comfort.
It should. They've got a plan.
It's all about balance.
It is. Growth and stability.
Yeah.
And then we get to the Q&A.
Oh, yeah.
Analyst Q&A. Always a highlight.
Where the rubber meets the road.
Where the gloves come off. Those analysts were digging deep, especially about those future capital expenditures.
CapEx. They want to know, are you going to keep spending?
Exactly. How deep are those pockets?
Yeah, so what'd they say?
Well, it sounds like they're going to ease up a bit. CapEx may be similar to 2024 or even a little lower.
Makes sense. They've laid out a lot of cash this year.
They have. Gotta let those investments mature.
Yeah. Pace yourself, right?
Absolutely. The other hot topic, no surprise.
Water
acquisitions. Analysts were thirsty for more details.
Yeah. Are we going to see more of these acquisitions?
Right. Just the tip of the iceberg.
What'd they say?
Well, it sounds like they're planning to stick with those smaller, tuck-in acquisitions.
Yeah.
Steady strategic growth.
Building that empire brick by brick.
Exactly. All right. Think we covered the Q&A highlights. But before we move on, ready for another round of This Is Not Financial Advice.
Always. What crazy idea have you come up with this time?
Okay, so we see NWN is playing this balancing act, right? Natural gas, renewables, water.
Yeah, not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Exactly. Diversifying. So here's my thought. What if we create a basket of stocks that mirrors their strategy?
I like where you're going with this.
So we go long on a natural gas ETF, long on a clean energy ETF, and long on a water utility ETF.
A mini NWN portfolio.
Exactly. We'd be riding those same trends.
Without having to pick individual winners and losers.
Exactly. A diversified play on the future of essential resources.
Love it. But, of course, folks, this is just hypothetical.
Highly speculative.
Not financial advice.
Just having some fun here.
Sparking those creative juices.
Who knows? Maybe someone out there will hear this and come up with the next big thing.
Yeah. Okay, let's bring it back down to earth for a minute.
Yay.
NWN, they're building a sustainable future.
They are. It's not just about profits. It's about the planet, too.
They're walking the walk.
Yeah, they're leading the way.
So the big question is, what do you think? Are they on the right track?
Yeah. Is this the future of utilities?
That's what we want to know. Head over to our social media. Tell us what you think.
Let's keep the conversation going.
And, of course, you can always find the full transcript on NWN's website if you want to dig into the details.
All the juicy details are there.
Do your own research, draw your own conclusions, maybe even come up with your own crazy trade ideas.
Just remember, not financial advice.
We're just here to help you navigate the world of earnings calls.
And have some fun along the way.
It's interesting, right? We've got this company, Northwest Natural, known for natural gas. And they're really trying to walk this line between the traditional energy sources and this new world of renewables.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, is this what all utilities are going to have to do?
It's a bold strategy, that's for sure.
It is.
And then on top of that, you've got the whole water play, too.
Yeah, it's an interesting mix.
It really is. I think it just speaks to all the challenges and opportunities that utilities are facing, this century.
Absolutely. It's a different world.
It's a different world. They've got to adapt.
They do. Sustainability, resource management.
Yeah.
It's not an option anymore.
Right. And it's not just about, being eco-conscious.
Yeah, it's good business.
Good business.
Clean water, renewable energy. These are growth industries.
Absolutely.
NWN is positioning themselves to be a leader.
Yeah, they're trying to, predict the future.
That's right. Got to skate to where the puck is going.
Exactly. And do it all while still,
Yeah.
keeping that foothold in natural gas.
It's a balancing act, for sure.
Yeah.
But if they can pull it off...
Big rewards.
Big rewards.
So for our listeners out there, we've given you the information.
We have.
What do you think? Is this the winning formula?
Yeah. Is NWN on the right path? Are they spreading themselves too thin?
Head over to our social media. Let's discuss.
Let us know. We want to hear from you.
Of course, if you want to go even deeper, full transcript, all the details, NWN's website.
Everything's there.
Do your own research.
Absolutely.
Draw your own conclusions.
Hey, maybe come up with your own crazy trade ideas.
Exactly. But just remember, this is not financial advice.
We are not financial advisors.
We are just two people.
Right.
Passionate about earnings calls.
Absolutely.
Having some fun, breaking it down for you.
Try and make it interesting.
So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
For this deep dive.
We appreciate you listening.
Into Northwest Natural's Q3 2024 earnings call.
Yes. We'll see you next time.
Until then, happy investing.